Back again, my lovely student, to our science lessons with lesson number 6 of chapter 6, which is the last lesson of this quarter, inshallah. I will divide this lesson as usual to two parts to be easy to understand each part in details. Let's get started with what is the water cycle, lesson 6 of chapter 6, part 1, recycled water. In the beginning, I'd like to show you this picture, which is the summary of our lesson. From this picture you can see here evaporation, ocean, trees, rivers, rain and snow, sun, clouds. So all of these parts join together to give us our lesson of today. Let's get started with this video to warm up and know more about water cycle.
How can water move in the water cycle? Observe the cup of water. Seal the cup in a bag and tape it near the window. Let's wait one day and see what happens. Observe the bag. Notice that some of the water had evaporated. Condensation can be seen on the inside of the bag. Let's wait one more day and see what happens. Observe the bag. Notice that water has fallen to the bottom of the bag.
Okay, as you see here in the video, this is a simple form to how the water cycle is formed, how is some process inside the water cycle is going on. I know that you studied this lesson previously in third grade, but let us explore more about water cycle together. It is a very interesting lesson. Let's deal with each part as usual, separately in details. Turning to another slide, here is the main points of our lesson. I need you to know that there is a certain amount of water in Earth. Like we said in the previous lesson, Earth's water is divided into two parts, salty water and fresh water. So the amount of water is constant. So Earth's water is constantly be recycled. We can't bring water from anywhere, just water recycled continuously. So water exists, as you know, in three different phases: solid, liquid and gas, which they can change it to be each other from one form to another form. That's why water is constantly being recycled from the solid state to liquid to gas and vice versa. Water changes phases as it is recycled. You have to know that water changes phases as it's recycled from solid to liquid and gas and vice versa, like I said. Water also moves from Earth's surface into the atmosphere, then falls back to Earth's surface again. So this is what we will deal with, and we will call water cycle. So when the water moves from Earth's surface into the atmosphere and falls back again to the Earth's surface, it can be recycled. The sun heats liquid, as you know. The sun heats liquid water on the Earth's surface, and that's why water will be in vapor state. Let's take this question, simple question. It's about conclude. You have to conclude the answer. Is any water lost when a phase change occurs? You have to explain. The answer, of course, will be no, because water is constantly recycled as it changes phases, so no water is lost. No water is lost because water will be changed from one form to another form with the same amount, so it's constantly recycled and no amount of water is lost during the process of water cycle. Turning to the wrap-up sheet of the water cycle, here is the most important information of our today's part of lesson 6. Let's get started with the definition of water cycle, which is defined as the movement of water from Earth's surface to atmosphere and back again. So the water of the Earth, when it it moves from the Earth's surface to atmosphere and back again, we can call it water cycle. Another information here, the process of evaporation. Evaporation is defined as the process in which liquid water turns into gas, which this gas called water vapor. So the water vapor is a form of gas like oxygen, like carbon dioxide. Water vapor is a kind of gas. So the evaporation process is the process in which the liquid water turns into the gas. We can call this gas water vapor. Another process here inside the water cycle is called condensation. Condensation, the process in which the water vapor, which is evaporated from evaporation process, changes into the droplets of liquid water. So the water vapor, when it changes into droplet of liquid water, it may be condensed. So condensation is a process in which the water vapor changes into droplets of liquid water. Turning to another process here inside our water cycle is precipitation. Precipitation is the third process in which the condensed water will be fall into the Earth's surface. So first evaporation, second condensation, third precipitation. So the precipitation is any form of water that falls to the Earth's surface. Then after the precipitation takes place, the water will be stored and collects inside the bodies of water and underground. We call this process a storage. Excellent. So let me first remind you with the types or forms of precipitation, which include rain, snow, sleet, and hail. So these forms are of the precipitation process. The water will fall in the form of rain, on snow, sleet, or hail. So there are 4 forms of precipitation process. Let's get the last information here in this slide, which is the storage process. The storage process is the process in which the water falls on land and soak in the ground and collect as underground water and surface water as well when they collect in rivers, lakes, and the ocean. Understand it? Okay, excellent. Turning to another point here, which is the water cycle from your book. I take this picture from your book to show you how is the water cycle starting from and ended by. Here I know that this figure is not clear for you, but I will send it with the model answer of this chapter, of this lesson, sorry. So the water cycle is starting from the evaporation process. When the sun heats the groundwater or the surface water, it becomes in the form of water vapor. Then the water vapor formed clouds in the form of condensation. When the condensation take place, the water vapor cools and charges into droplet of liquid. This liquid may form clouds. Then the clouds will be fall in the form of rain or sleet or hail, which we can call this process precipitation. After precipitation, like we said, the storage process will take place, where the water will collect in the surface in the body of water like river, ponds, lakes, ocean, and in the ground as well. Turning to another slide here, which is covering question of these previous parts. We have 2 questions to cover all these parts, which is distinguish and analyze. In the distinguished one, what is the difference between evaporation and condensation? Here are 2 processes inside water cycle, which is the first one is evaporation, and the second is condensation. So the possible answer may be in evaporation, water becomes water vapor. Unlike condensation, water vapor becomes water liquid. So you have to know that evaporation, water vapor. means water vapor. Condensation means water liquid before it will be precipitated. The second one here is analyze. You have to analyze your answer here. Does all does all precipitation turn into groundwater? It's a very interesting question, I think. So you have to explain, does all precipitation turn into groundwater? No, of course, yes. The possible answer is to that precipitation that falls directly into lakes and ocean may not become groundwater. As we said previously, the precipitation maybe collects into rivers, lakes, ponds, ocean, and some of this precipitated water maybe go deep inside the ground in form of groundwater. Finally, I will let you now with an interesting video is about the water cycle song in the form of song, to be easy to understand and cover all the part of the lesson. Now I will let you to watch. Enjoy watching. I hope you understand our today's lesson. See you again. Bye bye.
The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth.
Evaporation comes when the heat from the sun warms up all the groundwater, then it turns to water vapor. Condensation takes over, it goes up to the clouds. Water vapor cools down and it changes to a liquid now. Precipitation happens when the drops get big. It falls like rain, snow, sleet, and hail upon my head. I know it's the water cycle happening again. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation.
The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth.
Evaporation comes when the heat from the sun warms up all the groundwater, then it turns to water vapor. Condensation takes over, it goes up to the clouds. Water vapor cools down and it changes to a liquid now. Precipitation happens when the drops get big. It falls like rain, snow, sleet, and hail upon my head. I know it's the water cycle happening again. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation.
The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. Evaporation comes when the heat from the sun warms up all the groundwater, then it turns to water vapor. Condensation takes over, it goes up to the clouds. Water vapor cools down and it changes to a liquid now. Precipitation happens when the drops get big. It falls like rain, snow, sleet, and hail upon my head. I know it's the water cycle happening again.